Whatever time and place you might be taking our online course from, I just want to welcome you to your Research Methods course.
Welcome again to our course. This is an introduction to quantitative research, EDUC 6114. I'm Dr. Dardick, and this course, the material will be entirely online. This is a completely online course. It is designed originally as asynchronous, but this semester I've decided to add a few online face-to-face meetings to get to know each other and supplement some of the recorded lectures. If I leave this up for future, sessions without that, I'll simply let you know. When I start off a face-to-face lecture, I typically start off our first class period with an introduction to the course. We'll review the syllabus together and we discuss what the course is about and some of what it's not about. We also do, usually a little introduction from everyone. And since this is primarily an online and asynchronous course, to be efficient with our time, I'll do an introduction here, ask you to take a moment to introduce yourself on our Blackboard discussion, and maybe we'll have a few moments when we meet with some of our Zoom meetings this semester. Well, this is me and my family. Here are some pictures of my son Thomas and my wife Lisa. I'm Professor Dardick. Sometimes I'll have the beard, sometimes I'll just be clean shaven, depending how warm and nice it is, or whether my son tells me to shave it or not. Professionally here at GW, I enjoy my work. I do a lot of research in simulation design, statistical methods, doing some new work on AI impacts in research. And I also support all areas of educational research with some of my colleagues. I spend time with my family. I like to play games with my son and my wife, and I do a lot of bike riding. I do century bike rides, road bike rides. I like to travel, and I do a lot of fantasy fiction writing on the side when I'm not doing academic writing.
This is a snapshot of our Blackboard course. Right now, I'm just focused on the syllabus tab because one of the first things you should be doing as you enter into the semester is check out the syllabus. I have FAQs here for frequently asked questions. There's a lot of information here that's very useful to students as you start the course. And also you'll be checking out this welcome video. So if you have questions, hold those questions until you've reviewed the syllabus and listening obviously to this video. And you'll be able to sort through the FAQs. And then still have questions, send me an email. So our semester will be asynchronous course. This course is entirely asynchronous. There's no live lecture. There's no face-to-face lecture. This is an online course. And we will have lectures presented under the lecture section. I'll talk a little bit more about, I have a little introduction to Blackboard video that I'll do. New lectures will be posted under lectures. Assignments will be posted under assignments, quizzes will be posted under the test section, and our discussion board entries will be posted under discussions. I'll also have some supplemental materials for you here. For lectures, they will be available to you in the lecture section. I also have a YouTube video. By clicking on any of those links, it actually sends you to YouTube, and you can, under my lectures, and you can sort through those lectures as you wish. If you move ahead, for example, if you go from lecture 1 to lecture 2 because you have found the YouTube section, that's fine. Just be aware when you come to assignments lectures, some of them may have material from previous semesters. So if you've jumped ahead, sort of, the YouTube videos are sort of our textbook this semester. So if you've jumped ahead, just know that some of the assignments, although they'll stay relatively the same, there might be a difference in proportion or percentages that are offered. So just be aware of that. So one of the first things I like to do is just give you a very brief review of the syllabus. This doesn't replace you reviewing the syllabus. It's just to highlight a couple things for you since I get some questions about the general course, the structure of grading, the schedule, and some policies. Our course is a quantitative research methods course. It's one of 3 courses we offer as an introductory course to methods. We have 6112, Foundations of Assessment, Testing, and Measurements, 6114, the course you're in now, is an introduction to quantitative research, and 6116, which is an introduction to educational statistics. The other two courses take a deeper dive into assessment, testing, and measurement and educational statistics, respectively. This course is broader. It has sections which include 6112 and 6116 material, but it does not replace those other two courses. So if you think you need to be in another course, please talk to your advisor. You're welcome to send me an email, but in general, I hope you're staying in my quantitative research course. The idea behind this course is to get you started with our quantitative research methods, gives you some idea about reviewing the literature, becoming a consumer of research, examining and learning hypothesis testing and the scientific method. It gives us some of the first tools that we use in quantitative research methods. It is not a course on mixed methods or qualitative methods. So as we go through the semester and we have projects, we won't be focusing on our qualitative methodologies, but for those interested, there are some good chapters in our textbook that review some qualitative methods. If you're interested in going forward, please contact in other topic areas. There's a lot of other courses we offer here at GW, ranging from regression and discourse analysis to advanced courses like structural equation modeling and item response theory.
So for this course, I don't expect you to buy a textbook. I show you a couple here to give you some background and insight into the way the course developed. I really like the old Research Methods in Education book by Wiersma and Jers. It's been outdated now, so I don't use it as my primary text. I just primarily use my lectures and my notes. So if you find an old copy of this and it's cheap, sure, buy it. But other than that, I would not spend the money on it. There are other available resources online. I will point you on Blackboard. I'll point you to some of those resources that have very similar structured textbooks now on research methods in social sciences and in education. I just like to provide a couple other insights. Also let you see some covers of some textbooks, some useful ones. The APA manual is always useful. However, now we don't, right now at this stage, you probably don't need to purchase it until maybe you're getting into more publication journal articles, maybe a dissertation. Most of the APA manual resources we will use in this class, all of them are going to be online at the APA website. And I also like to point out the quantitative methods in social science, the reviewer's guide, just because if you get into conducting analysis, it gives you a very clear path forward to what is usually published with some of the methods that are used in our field.
This semester, we're going to have a breakout of our grading into 4 broad categories. We're going to have discussion board entries, general assignments, a research proposal presentation, and quizzes. The discussion board entries will have regular weekly discussion board entries. There may be a week with 2, but in general, let's expect about 14 discussion board entries. Anything more than that, I can put up for extra credit. So roughly 1 a week, they'll be worth 10 points each, and if you participate a lot, that is, if you participate at least a second time, I can give you extra credit. I try to bake in extra credit in a couple spots in this course. So discussion board entries is an easy one. So a discussion board entry, a typical general post is going to be about 100 to 200 words. You can just think, a paragraph or 2 about the topics, about the lecture. That is the actual discussion board entry. And you could also get points by responding to someone else. So if you don't want your own unique entry, you can just look at what other people wrote, respond to them, and get your 10 points of credit. If you respond and chat with people multiple times, I look for that as well, you can get up to 1 extra credit point per discussion board. So if you're chatting with people back and forth, instead of 10 points, you're going to get 11 points for that entry, which is nice, so you can get a little extra credit there. Assignments and your research presentation kind of go together. There's going to be 2 general assignments. One is going to be a getting to know journals, and you'll do a short bibliographies of a couple of articles that you'll decide you're interested in, and then you'll do a critique. Those articles, those journal topics can all be related to what you might want to do as your final research presentation. For the research presentation, I'm breaking it up into 3 chunks. There's the general presentation, which is at the end of the semester, but also what we're going to do to make it more useful throughout the semester is there's an opportunity earlier on to send me your topic and a little bit about what you're planning and who your team members are if you're doing it by yourself or with a partner. And then finally, the last piece for the presentations is going to be your opportunity to evaluate and look at other students' work and write a couple discussion board entries about their work as well. This semester there will be 12 quizzes. There's the possibility I give you an optional extra credit quiz at some point. In general, we'll see about a quiz a week. It's possible I issue 2 quizzes in 1 week, but there'll be an adjustment of time for that. I will put that into any post or announcement when that comes up. The quizzes are short quizzes, and I mean short. They are 5-question, multiple choice style quizzes, possibly multiple response style quiz. I'll let you know as I post them. But in general, we have 5 question quizzes. We're going to have 12 quizzes total. And each quiz should take you 10 or 15 minutes to do. But what I give you is a week plus a grace period week to work on those. So you can kind of check out the quiz, leave it open, go to the videos, do any readings you want to do, and still answer questions as you go. It's not any forced response for the quizzes. The same grace period applies to all of my assignments. Sometimes it's baked in, other times, like in the discussion boards, I give you a week to write a discussion board entry, and then I give you a week grace period in case you missed a discussion board entry for any reason. You don't even have to tell me if you're going away, if you have a religious holiday, if you just want, a week to take for yourself, that's fine. Just you don't have to let me know, but please have all of your discussion board quizzes and other assignments in prior to the grace period being over. So how that works is I give a date, let's say I issue a discussion board or a quiz on a Tuesday. You have 1 week to complete that assignment. At that point, if you don't turn it in, it's late. But we have lives, we have other things to do. So I give you another week to complete that assignment before I mark it late or before I remove the quizzes. Once the grace period's up for the quizzes, I do not reopen those quiz assignments. My philosophy on grading is that quizzes are your own work. You're the only person. I don't want to know what the AI knows. I don't want to know what your colleagues know. Work on your quizzes by yourself. They're only 5 questions. You respond to them, and don't share answers until after the grace period is over, please. For your assignments and research proposals, you can work in groups. For assignments, you can work with whomever you want. For your proposals, your presentation at the end of the semester, it's going to be 2 or 3 of you potentially in a group. You can also do those solo if you just want to do your own presentation. And then discussion board, we're chatting back and forth. So even though it's your own entry, it's still a general group discussion. So the only thing that's really done on your own, this has to be done forced on your own, is the quizzes. That's your own work. No use of intelligence, whether it's artificial or natural from other beings. Each week, you can expect there to be a asynchronous lecture, a discussion board opportunity, and a quiz opportunity. They will typically be released on Tuesdays. I may release them Monday a day early, but if I do release it a day early on Monday, I'm still going to make the due date the following Tuesday. So if I release them early, I still give you that whole chunk a week of time from Tuesday to Tuesday. And I picked Tuesday this week in general for release dates because we have a lot of Mondays off. If you actually look at our schedule, we have a lot of holidays that fall on Mondays. So it's just easier if I post or at least set the posts ready for Tuesdays or Monday evening. So it still gives you that full 2 weeks and gives you some long weekends to get any work caught up that you might need.
Just a few reminders. This semester, we're going to have a few synchronous virtual meetings. Our second week will be our first meeting. I'll post something on Blackboard as well as a link to a Zoom link. So we'll be able to meet virtually. We'll do that a few times during the semester. I may open up some other just chat opportunities so we can talk about some of the things going on during the semester. Our quizzes will be 1 week quizzes. Of course, I give a grace period, and they're 15-minute quizzes. So if you're asking for extra time, please just find time in that 2 week period to do a 15-minute quiz. Same thing with your discussion board entries. I I appreciate conversations back and forth. So if you've responded with 2 or 3 sentences of something meaningful to a colleague, that will count as your discussion board entry if it's posted online. If you also post something about our live lectures when we have them, those can also count as your discussion board entry for the week. Assignments build on each other. So assignment one, well, they build on the presentation. So if you're finding journal articles for your previous assignments or doing some work there, that can help you at least decide on what your presentation will be. And also, there's any articles used previously, you can use them again in your final presentation.
Any specific policy or expectation, please review the syllabus. In general, be nice to each other online, whether it's discourse in our discussion board or emails to each other or myself. Let's be respectful and kind to each other. If you have any specific questions or interactions, please contact me.
Well, this is a virtual course, so we'll have virtual office hours. Office hours will be by appointment only. So if you want to talk about something in lecture, we'll do an appointment. And typically I'll do office hours on Tuesdays, but it doesn't have to just be during our time period in class. I may also open up some sort of open office hours on a few of the Tuesdays where we don't have lecture, just so we can chat and get caught up. But please contact me via email if you'd like to meet by an appointment. For an appointment for office hours. We'll make some time. Just want to welcome you again to class, welcome you to the semester. I hope it's a wonderful semester for you.